Hello boys and girls, hello grown-ups as well. My name is Liz and I'm going to tell you a story. These stories are part of the Playful Museums Festival run by the Northern Ireland Museums Council, and we hope you'll enjoy the stories and then you'll get along and see some of our local museums just as soon as you can. But for now, maybe when I tell you the story, maybe you can do some sort of activity afterwards. I'm going to tell you one of my favourite stories. And this one's about food. Now, I don't know what you had for your breakfast this morning, but this story is about something that I love to have for breakfast. It's a very, very old story, and there's some joining in bits. So I'm hoping if I tell you the story, you can help me with it. So the story is about a little girl who lived in a cottage in the forest with her mummy. They were very poor. They didn't have very much money at all, and soon their food was running out. And the little girl was out walking through the trees, and she was hungry and she started to cry. Just then, a kind old lady came up and said, "What's wrong, little girl? Why are you crying?" She said, "Mummy and I have no money and we haven't any nice tasty food." "Oh, we can't have that," said the old lady. So she said, "Wait till you see what I'm going to give you." And she brought out a big black pot. She said, "What's this?" She set it down and she pointed. "You can do this with me. Point and you say, 'Boil, little pot, boil.'" And all of a sudden, the pot started to fill up with lovely creamy porridge. When it came to the top, the old lady put her hand out flat and said, "Stop, little pot, stop." Oh my goodness, that was wonderful. The little girl thanked the old lady and took the pot home. And she told her mummy. She said, "Mummy, this is what we have to do. Boys and girls, can you help me? If you want the porridge to come, you point at the pot and you say, 'Boil, little pot, boil.' And when it fills up, do you remember what to say?" "That's right. Stop, little pot, stop." Well, that little girl and her mummy did porridge for their breakfast, porridge for their lunch, porridge for their dinner. Sometimes they had it with honey. I like that. Sometimes they had it with a bit of fruit. That's very nice as well. And they were really happy. But one day, the little girl went out to play with her friends. She loved getting to see her friends. And at lunchtime, her mummy thought, I think I'd like some porridge. So she pointed at the pot. What did she say? "Boil, little pot, boil." And the porridge started to bubble up all lovely and creamy. And then she said, "That'll do, little pot, that'll do." But the porridge kept coming. She said, "No more, little pot, no more." And the porridge started over. She couldn't remember the special word. The porridge was flowing like a river down across the table, down out the door. She said, "Oh, please, little pot, please." But it was no good. And a river of porridge started to go down the path just as the little girl was coming home. And she realised what had happened and she ran into the house. Do you remember what she said? "Stop, little pot, stop." And the porridge stopped. Well, they had plenty of porridge to share with all their neighbours that day. But ever after that, her mummy never forgot the magic word to stop it, which was, put out your hand, "Stop, little pot, stop." And that's the very old story of the Magic Porridge Pot. And I'm hoping maybe you could do a picture of that. You could do the little cottage in the woods. You could maybe do a picture of all the big river of porridge coming out. Or maybe you could just think of all the tasty things you would like to have for breakfast. Maybe lovely eggs. My mummy used to beat up an egg in a cup for me when I was a very little girl. Or maybe we'd have a boiled egg and dip toast soldiers in it. That could be fun as well. So I'm hoping you enjoy the story, and I'm hoping you'll remember to go off and visit your local museum just as soon as you can.